All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checker TV. It is championship time here tonight at the Area 51 TWM Motorsports Superspeedway Truck Series. 75 laps is the race distance here tonight at Talladega Superspeedway. Drivers putting down their qualifying laps as we speak. However, the big thing we got to talk about, of course, is going to be our championship hunt, and it is a very tight battle up front. You've got Gabe Butler still leading after last week, had a rough race, but still holds onto the lead by only 4 points over Sebastian Marin. And then with the big win last week, Robert Rock jumps all the way up now to just 8 points out of the lead, 4 points behind Sebastian Marin. So realistically, those are going to be the three going after it. In fourth position, JD Crow, he would need a lot of help to be able to get himself up into that mix here. So I think ones we're going to be watching are going to be that one truck, the 23 truck, and the 171. I think those will be the drivers to watch to see what they can do here tonight. So qualifying going to be at the utmost importance, of course. So that's what's happening right now as we speak. And the other thing we'll do is we'll let a few more laps here go underway because we are going to pull up last week's winner of Robert Rock. Wanted to get an interview in with him. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do so last week, but was able to chat with him a little bit before the race tonight. Have definitely nailed down that he's good to go, and definitely want to obviously talk about last week, but of course now lead into this week because, like I said, a huge points jump for him. So we'll want to get his thoughts as well to see what he thinks he's got for this finale. And also gotta bring in my partner in crime, Brandon. Glad to have you back in the booth with me. You've been busy doing some real stuff, work side of things, some fun side of things. I heard with some racing, but it's gonna be fun to have you in the booth here tonight. And it's gonna be. We'll see. What I said. We've seen a lot of three wide racing, especially here at Talladega. But man, some of the drafting we've seen has been super aggressive with these trucks. I'm expecting to see the same, but how aggressive can these guys be?
Yeah, it's in the past few weeks they've had a little bit too much aggression. If you ask some of the drivers, they've had a lot of cautions here, and with this being championship week, you've got to be concerned for especially those top three guys that are just trying to get across the finish line. And for a lot of these guys, it's a win and you're in kind of week. So you got to be aggressive, but at the same time, you got to make it to the finish line.
Yeah, exactly right. And so we'll go ahead and we are going to bring in last week's winner right now, and that is that 171 of Robert Rock. So, Robert, we weren't able to talk to you last week, unfortunately, but I said we got to chat a little bit during practice, and now, of course, qualifying pretty much finishing up here. So, first off, congratulations on the big win last week. It propels you all the way up into only 8 points out of the lead. Coming into tonight's race. So, take us through kind of the finish up of that race, and then what are you looking for here tonight to try to get that title away from Gabe and Sebastian?
Well, I'm not going to say that's possible, but, what happens, happens. I'm just going to run it how I usually run it. Try to stay, somewhat close when they pit, and we'll see what happens at the end.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I was able to chat with some of your team there as well. So you've got a lot of good helpers there behind you. And you could tell just from me talking to them a little earlier. They're pretty much fully committed. A win for you would be pretty much a win for the team. I think it would mean the world to them be able to get you that championship as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see. Like I said, I'm sure we're going to see. We know you're only as good as the help you have at times in these races, especially on the super speedway side of things. But the other thing we got to talk about, of course, is you got some great sponsors, some great associates on that 171 truck that we didn't get to chat about last week. So, I know we're about to start here. So I definitely wanted to give you an opportunity for thanks and shouts for those guys that are kind of helping you out and be able to get that win last week.
Oh yeah. First I got to thank you guys at Green White Checker, Area 51, everybody at TW Motorsports, Todd, Dean, Randy, Jay, David, helping me out. And, TJ Travels for the paints. He's helped me out big time with all these different paints he's done for me. And then twistedgarden.net. And, I want to give a little shout out to a friend of Todd's at TJ Travels, Pete Bellini. He's feeling a little under the weather, but I appreciate everybody, all the help.
So I say you've done a great job all season long. So I say got one to go. I know you guys are starting to grid here, so I'll let you get back over with your team. So good luck though, Robert. I say hopefully we'll be having a chat with you here in about 75 or so laps, give or take, potential those green white checkered. So good luck tonight, man.
Thank you. Good luck, everybody.
All right, Brandon, that is our race winner last week. However, now we got to pull up our qualifying results here tonight. And as always, it is close in the grid. And I say, let me go ahead and actually let's hide all of that. And then let's bring the grid in here correctly. As we've got the number one, Gabe Butler gets pole position. Brandon, 0.07 of a second. That gives an all-important bonus point to that one truck. So basically put that 4-point lead to a 5-point lead over Sebastian Marin. And then third, you got JD Crow, Bud Steele, Eric Laurie are top 5. And you say, look at the teammates there too. You've got JD Crow, Eric Laurie lined up right behind that one truck. That's exactly what he'd be hoping for. And then you got Paul Sheldon in 6th, Michael Spell, Dean Wilkinson, Randy Miner, Robert DuPont, Derek Gilray, Jay Hilliard in 12th. We'll keep going down the order here. You got Patrick Groover, Seth Groover, 13th to 14th. Those will definitely be 2 to watch here. And we just talked about Robert Rock there in the 171. We'll start 15th here tonight. Then you got BK Anderson, Bob Fitzgerald, Dustin Lamb, Todd Siebels, Jeff Lamb, Nicholas Lamb, and Jacob Lamb. So I say you got the Lamb family there, kind of all starting towards the back. However, would not be at all surprised to see those guys find their way towards the front as the race progresses. And we definitely saw a lot of that happen last night as well. However, say something interesting right off the bat here. I am not seeing that 23 truck Sebastian Marin on the grid here, Brandon. I don't know if you saw that as well, but so this is already a pretty big, kind of a big wrinkle and everything.
Yeah, one of the things I was going to mention, before pre-race was that the 3 championship contenders tonight are all from 3 different teams. But in the past, Sebastian's had a few extra team members here, and they've started from the pits in the past. But tonight, it looks like he's going to be forced into starting from the pits because he's just now coming back in. So hopefully he can either catch a little bit of good luck or maybe even a lucky dog and get back on the lead lap. But if he starts from the pits, it will not take long for these lead lap guys to come back around and swallow him up.
Yeah, exactly right. And also the fact that, like I said, he's going to be, if he does come, so hopefully he's able to get on the grid here, but he's going to be doing so by himself. I say he doesn't have any drafting help, so that's also a huge disadvantage because I say usually we've seen it happen before, but like you said, you've got a couple of guys with you working with you, so that's going to be a really, really interesting one. I say this is already putting him for sure on the back foot here. And I say looking at the YouTube chat as well, definitely again want to really thank all the TJ Travels guys for supporting us here on Green White Checker TV. Good luck to you as well, Dean. And then say also definitely thinking of Pete Polini there. Say unfortunately sounds like battling cancer, so say definitely best wishes to him to hopefully be able to beat that and get back 100% here soon. So definitely thinking of you, Pete. I know you'll be rooting on Robert here throughout this race though. So with that, you see the pace car is just about to duck off here. It's going to hand it over to that number 1 truck of Gabe Butler. But of course, like we mentioned, that on this restart, or the initial start I should say, goes on green. Everywhere else then the leader has the choice of when to go. So say these guys are going to go through the tribal and then that green flag will fly. And I do see the 23 truck. He is on the grid, so he is making the race, but starting from the pits here, as you already see him starting to roll out of the pits right there. So we'll see maybe somebody rolls back to pick him up. Oh, we got trouble right off the bat here. That's going to most likely re-up. It does brings out the yellow right away. And you see the 46 truck, I think that was, Derek Gilroy. He got caught up in that. Looks like the 5 as well. That's about the best break you could have had right there if you're Sebastian Marin, that 23 truck to sneak by this.
Great luck for Sebastian Marin. Terrible luck for our third place contender, Robert Rock. He got caught up in that, got pretty severe damage from the looks of it. Was in the inside wall there, and has gotten it rolling again. But he has got a hill to climb tonight.
Yeah, that's going to kill the fast pair right off the bat as well. And of course, also, we didn't talk about it yet with the bonus points, but also gets rid of the 1 bonus point, or 3 bonus points that were potential for him as well. Yeah, that's a huge, huge disappointment for Robert there. Let's go back and see what exactly happens. That's honestly one of the first times we've ever seen something like that happen on the initial start here. So we're going to go back and try to catch how this all came about here. I'll say, let's see, let's go back to, we'll go to Robert here. So let's say a little further back. You see the 101 truck of Randy Minor. And then let's see who's on the outs. That's the 46. Oh, yeah, you see just everybody's starting to kind of react a little bit. So far, so good. Yeah, something happened with the 46 truck there of Nicholas Lamb. And it actually, or no, sorry, not Nicholas Lamb, Derek Gilleray. And then from Robert Rock, it kind of just all kicked off behind him. We'll actually hop on board. Let's listen to that 46 truck. I almost felt like it kind of looks like maybe missed a shift, if anything. Let's hop on board. Let's listen along with this 46.
I almost think the engine may have dropped out.
Oh, you know what it was? You could hear it on the RPMs there. I think it was a miss shift. I think he was going from second to third, I believe, and went straight to first. Let's say kind of the money shift, if you will. And unfortunately, right in front of Robert Rock, like I said, nothing he could do there. I said he had the strategy. He was going to start towards the back there, try to get that highest climber. So, I mean, that is still in contention for him. However, like I said, unfortunately, kills that faster pair right off the bat and also kills the incident-free race. So, basically on the back foot with those 3 bonus points being out the window here. And we got a lot of leaders here actually hitting pit road, as Gabe Butler did get a lap led there. So he will go ahead and get that 1 extra bonus point as well for leading a lap here tonight.
Yeah, I have to imagine there's a little bit of a strategy play here. You know, these guys in practice were talking somewhere between 20 to 22 laps per tank. And if that shakes out, it's going to put them right on the edge of the 75-lap race. So a lot of these guys probably want to top off now, have a full tank, and then get the sequence off just a little bit to maybe make it to the end of the race a little bit easier.
Yeah, exactly right. So we had, it looks like about just 3 trucks who did not pit. It's going to basically cycle Paul Sheldon out to the front in that 52. So then Dean Wilkinson, Robert DuPont, 55, and the 07. So say going to have a handful. Just looks like just 3 trucks that stayed out there. And then, like I said, a lot of trucks hitting pit road. You see Robert Rock actually looks like he made a quick stop there in this. I still see significant damage to that 171 here. So it's like, not sure if he just trying to feel it out or what it was there, but I said looking at the pit stop, only about 10 seconds there. So definitely going to need to get some damage repairs done to that machine. And then looking further in the back here, looks like, I believe, yeah, Jacob Lamb just rolling out of pit road now. That truck looks pretty good. He had a longer pit stop. I think Bob Fitzgerald, same thing. He's sitting here a little longer as well. Probably damage repairs there as well. So, but I think, again, like I mentioned, a lot of fast repairs probably right off the bat there. So, yeah, unfortunately, I think just a misshift on that initial green, and I say we've seen it before in various races, be it league or just hosted open races. We've even seen it, I think, in actual NASCAR. So I go back to I think it was a Dover race where Jimmy Johnson, I think, either missed a shift or I think the transmission kind of locked or whatever, and it caused a huge pileup on a late restart. So it's happened before, and unfortunately, they caught out Robert Rock here tonight.
Yeah, it's really going to throw a strategy wrench into things for him, and then the rest of the field is kind of jumbled up right now as well. You know, Sebastian Marin started from the pits, and he's already up to 9th place. He's only 5 or 6 spots behind his nemesis tonight, Gabe Butler. So, you know, we'll see what happens going forward. A lot of race left, but I have to imagine Robert's probably wanting to feel it out on this first run, see how it does under green flag conditions, and just see if maybe he can save that green-white checkered for the end.
Yep, exactly right. The one thing I will say for Robert Rock, at this point, now you don't have any, there's nothing holding you back, though. That you don't have to worry about, hey, I got to keep it clean, I need to have 0 incident points. At this point, it's like, hey, that ship sailed. I'm just going to be going after now, because if I get a 2X or a whatever it may be, possible some contact with the car or whatever. Of course, the fast repair being the biggest issue that I believe he's going to have to burn here, just with the amount of contact he made. And yeah, you look, that truck's nice and pristine now. So that's going to be the biggest thing for him. But now it's almost where, hey, if you're Gabe Butler or the 23 truck of Sebastian Marin, they got to be careful about you, because you've got nothing to lose. You know, I mean, I'm not saying he's going to go out there and spin the guys or anything. But it's like, I already lost my incident points, so might as well just go and be aggressive at this point, because I don't have to worry about those 3 points anymore.
Yeah, I almost question his decision, and it may have just made a little bit of lapse in judgment there. But, you know, Talladega is such a large track. I almost wonder if he would have been better off especially if he was going to pit on the second lap, of just trying to repair as much of that damage as possible. So maybe when he went in the first time, he decided to go a little bit early, just because he saw what he had just wasn't going to work out. Yeah, I'm kind of questioning that decision. He had a lot of time on that first lap, but we'll see how it plays out. Robert's been a great contender all season, and he could very easily just keep it clean the rest of the race with nothing to lose, and be right where he needs to be at the end.
Yeah, and it's definitely is open for that option or opportunity, I should say. And so we had similar, unfortunately, on Tuesday night as well. One of our playoff contenders, same situation, kind of got involved in an incident lap one. So, but I say he made it to the end. Didn't work out for him on the point side of things. However, was able to keep that car clean through the rest of the race. So, it's definitely doable. So we'll have to kind of wait and see on that one, but. It's kind of all shaken up here, like I said, and so now our pole sitter and points leader coming to tonight. Gabe Butler is going to restart in the 4th position, first of those that pitted, but it's going to be Paul Sheldon who's going to lead this restart here, coming to lap number 5. And again, I think waiting until it's really until you get that green flag, because you don't want to get that too big of a lead right off the bat, because they're just going to gobble you up. And now they get going here. I say pretty even between the two trucks there on the front row. But I say now it's just going to be all about who gets the push. Usually inside line's going to be a little quicker, but right now the outside line's a little closer form. This, I think, is going to be a big advantage for Dean Wilkinson.
Yeah, I think after a lap or so shakes out, that bottom line will form back up. Usually there are a few extra cars on a restart in the bottom line, but this time everybody kind of formed up for whatever reason in the outside line, and we see Sebastian Marin taking it 3 wide on there. We'll see if anybody gets anybody to follow him and see if he can work his way back up to the front as well. He is not waiting around.
No, so he's got to go because he sees the one truck of Gabe Butler doing exactly what he wants to be doing. And I think Sebastian's had, I think the help he's going to most likely have, actually I see Todd Seedles looks like hitting pit road in the 45. Same thing, not a scheduled pit stop for Todd, so just unfortunate, things just not going to plan for a couple of these trucks here early on. But I was going to say, though, for Sebastian Marin, I think he's been working a lot with that 32 truck right behind him of BK Anderson. And then also I think we're going to see the Groover brothers probably working with him as well. They seem like they've worked really well together between the trucks here on Thursday nights, the Super Speedway series with the Xfinity cars, and Sunday nights over on Max Speed TV. So I think that's going to be probably his best chance for good help here tonight, is going to be those 3 trucks.
Yeah, I see Gabe Butler working with Bud Steele there. Bud's right on his bumper, and those guys are they've worked really well whenever they could get together all season. But Sebastian, he's kind of that odd guy out a lot of times. He's got his own team, but sometimes he just doesn't need anybody else. He just needs 1 or 2 cars to tag along, whereas everyone else needs 5 or 6.
Yeah, exactly right. So he's able to do a lot with a little in that 23 truck for sure. As I say, it looks like he's just about got to that front row. So now these guys all sitting 3x3 here for the lead of this race. Again, still very, very early on here. But right now, it's been still that 55 just a nose ahead.
Yeah, we are on lap 7, and we are already 3x3. These guys are not waiting around. The teams are forming, and we'll see how long they last. But right now, you would think it's the last lap already.
Oh, big move. Maybe a little bit too soon of a big move there by Gabe Butler. Just chopped the nose there of Dean Wilkinson. You saw Dean actually had to move a little bit down as well. I think was worried for contact there. So Gabe, again, we talked about it, like I said, working with Bud Steele there, but maybe that 6 truck getting a little hot. Gabe, again, having to be kind of go on the aggressive side a little bit. As you can see right now up front, though, that middle group, about 3 trucks or so back, a lot of movement again side to side, which we've seen all season long. These trucks definitely get very edgy in the big draft groups here.
Yeah, they do, and we saw in practice, and we saw a little bit last week. Not only do they get edgy in big groups, but if you bump just a little bit out of place, where if you're the trailing car moving down or up the track as you bump, it can really upset the car in front of you. So all it takes is one bad push in a big pack like this, and you've got 15 cars sitting on the hook.
Yeah, exactly right. And it's probably be about what would happen here if something happened towards the front. But Right now, Gabe made the right call there. He dropped to the inside line, and you can see they've actually been able to push a little bit further forward here. Let's say the ones I'm going to be watching as this run progresses, though, are going to be that 0-1 to 0-2 of Patrick and Seth Groover right now. I think they're just kind of in cruise control there. It's always fun to say they seem to find great ways of having kind of matching, but just a little bit different paint schemes they'd been going with Mario and Luigi for a while. Now they got the Lego trucks with that 0-1 and 0-2. So say, apart from their driving abilities, it's been a lot of fun just to see what they can do as well on the paint scheme side. I say they've definitely been having a lot of fun with those.
Yeah, that's been fun to watch all season. What I really want to talk about right now is the power move by Dean Wilkinson last lap. He goes into one lap. He's sitting in second place behind Gabe Butler, moves up a lane, and by the end of the next straightaway, he gets down in front of Gabe Butler. But you don't see a lot of those one-truck runs and one-truck moves like that. But, man, power move by Dean Wilkinson.
Yeah, saying Dean in the playoffs, to say, just hasn't had the playoffs he's been hoping for. And honestly, a little surprised. Usually Dean never this aggressive early on, I'll say. But I think knowing where he stands, it's like, hey, I'm out of the playoff hunt for the championship, so I'm just going to go. I'm going to have some fun and say I'm going to be going and try to lead these laps, get the win here tonight. And also, I mean, that might be his best bet for his teammate as well with Robert Rock, is like, hey, let me just go be aggressive, and that way keep Gabe from leading the most laps possibly. That way, at least that's one less point you have to worry about. And definitely do need to mention, say, going back to Robert Rock, and exactly what we kind of thought, Brandon, here. He's definitely playing it safe right now, running side by side with the 101 of Randy Minor, just outside of the main draft here, enough to stay in the draft, but able to react should anything happen up in front of him.
Yeah, I wonder if Dean's playing the strategy card himself. He's tried to play it a little bit safe most of the time the rest of the season, and there's been times where it's worked, sometimes it hasn't. But being a little bit more aggressive tonight, leading that pack, you kind of control your own destiny for a little bit longer. So maybe he's going to see how long he can stay out front, maybe even make it to the first set of pit stops that are probably coming up here in about 10 laps, and just be in charge of what happens around him until that point.
Yeah, that's a great point. To see another big move. This time Bud Steele went from the middle to the bottom as soon as he was clear of that at 55. And like you said, there goes Dean. He's going to go straight back to the top. And now he's going to do exactly, I think he's going to try to do, I should say, exactly what he did to Gabe Butler. And it looks like it's going to pan out because, again, look at that. Straight to the middle, gets the push he needed from JD Crow. Straight back to the bottom, keeps this lead. The thing is for Dean, he's got to make sure he stays low here because, again, he did not pit under that first yellow. So he's going to be having to pit probably about a lap or two sooner than the rest of the field. So that's one thing we're going to keep an eye on that 55. And like you said, Brandon, we're going to start getting into that pit window probably in about 10 or so laps. And that one truck, Gabe Butler, he's seen enough. He's going to cruise straight to the back here, try to tag onto the back of this lead pack because I think he's like, yeah, I want to keep that incident point situation free. However, got to make sure he doesn't fall too far back to lose that draft.
Yeah, he's dropping back. He sees some aggression that's not usually there, and this is usually a pretty aggressive crowd anyway. But the other thing Dean Wilkinson up front's got to worry about is if he didn't stop on that first round of stops with everyone else. So leading this pack is just he's floored all the way around this track. He can't really save any fuel, so that may put him a little bit further behind when it comes to the times to go pit stop. So we got a top to bottom move by Sebastian Marin.
Yeah, I say Sebastian pulls the elevator there, goes all the way from top straight to the bottom. Also led that lap as well for good measure. So I'll say talk about the bonus points. So I was saying there goes Bud Steele. So yep, I've seen enough as well. I'm going to roll straight on back out of here. But importantly for Sebastian, gets that lap led. As I say that we got contact in the front of the field, might be exactly perfect timing. Sebastian just sneaks around. However, behind it is just everybody's got to be quick on their reactions here. And you see a few trucks still getting caught up in this one. Oh, was it 32? Just gets cut at the very, very end here. We got multiple trucks involved. And you see Gabe Butler, though. He's just waiting, being very patient to make sure everybody's clear before he goes anywhere. But I believe all looks safe for him and for Robert Rock here. So I'll say that strategy played out pretty well for them. And Sebastian Marin, though, doing what he does best. He's just able to sneak around that, but it's going to bring out our second yellow of the night. Let's go back and see how exactly this kicked off. All right, so they got to go a little further back here. Apologies. And yeah, it looks like just another push gone wrong, unfortunately. Again, nothing intentional or anything like that, but I believe it kicks off with the 32 here of BK Anderson. And I believe it is, trying to check which truck that is, the 01 of Patrick Groover. See if we can get a better shot here. Yeah, you can see just staggered off just a little bit to the right there. Hooks the 32 into the outside wall, and then from there's the momentum loss, and just there's nothing they can do. You see the 35 takes the shot, the 55. But look at the 23 truck here. Just cuts straight left. Almost like feels like the seas part pretty much for that 23 truck, while everybody else is just trying to find anywhere to make it through here. Oh, you see the 101 just about had it clear, but he catches a good piece as well there of Randy Minor. But yeah, so say unfortunately early incident here with, like you said, if it's going to happen, it's going to be taking out a handful of trucks, and that it did once more here. As you see, Dean Wilkinson was thinking he had it all nicely cleared, and then there's the 010 truck just in his path, unfortunately. So numerous trucks involved in this one here, Brandon.
Yeah, I'm really looking here at two different cars. Bud Steele made the premonition move of the race, just got out of there before it went south, and then it went south immediately after that. And Sebastian Marin with the lucky move of the race, just right place, right time. He was right in the thick of that and just caught a break and was able to avoid that wreck altogether. But all three of our championship contenders still look like they have got pretty clean trucks and should come out of this pretty nicely.
Yes, they was hopping on board Bud Steele. Just had it completely clear, got hit in the right rear, I believe, was to kind of send him around a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be enough to really, I don't think it's going to necessitate require, we'll go with that word, require a fast repair, maybe a little bit of damage repairs, though, to the right rear of that 6 truck, but yeah, so that being said, though, we'll jump back live here because we've got some pit stops going on. However, Randy Minor in the 101, he actually stays out here. And looking at, actually, I think he had pitted. Oh, okay, he had pitted the lap before, I think, for damages, so he'll probably have to roll to the back. So it looks like, I believe, once everything kind of gets fully updated, it's going to be the 07 of Robert DuPont who's going to take over the lead. And actually, look at the pit stop for Sebastian Marin as well here. About 16 seconds, so maybe a little bit of damage that we didn't see at some point in the event, because I say 16 is a longer pit stop than we've seen, even for a 4-tire stop here. So possibly something involving the 23 truck as well that we may have missed, to have to maybe just get a couple of wrinkles kind of cleaned up a little bit there.
Yeah, Sebastian's usually actually one of the faster pit stops, so maybe he had some cans he had to throw out the window or something like that. But, a long race, and I think he'll be in good shape going forward.
Say the timing of this yellow here, we're on 15 of 75, so this actually is a very interesting window here, because this basically puts it into, I believe, a 2-stop race from here now. Because I was hearing about 20 laps is pretty safe to make on the distance. So say basically that'd be pitting at 35 and 55 to make it to the end on those 2 stops. So yeah, we'll have to see. I think we're going to see again a lot of drivers topping off most likely on this one to go. And yeah, unfortunately, Karen, yeah, just the one fast repair instead of, I say, you're hoping for 3. There are 3 green-white checkers, but just the one fast repair. So I say, unfortunately for your boys, for Patrick and Seth, I think both, I believe, involved enough in those incidents that they've both had to go ahead and burn those fast repairs here. So I say they're gonna have to play nice the rest of this race until we get towards crunch time, basically.
Yeah, and on top of that, I'm watching some of these guys come in and top off, not taking any chances. They want to make sure that, like we said, during practice, these guys are getting 20 to 22 laps per stop, but these guys are going to go ahead and top off anyway, and Sebastian's going to come out in a good shape right in front of Gabe Butler as well.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what Gabe needs to do, is just to keep that 23 in his sights. Again, the only thing, though, we talked about it, Brandon, going into tonight, the point differences. So basically, first to second is a 5-point swing. However, then there are a couple of bonus points as well. I believe it was one. I think it was just actually one for kind of the race winner. So let's say 40 points for the win, but then you kind of get 41 for the bonus for the win. And then, of course, you're going to have to lead a lap. So say that pretty much put it at a guaranteed 42 points if you're the race winner. And yeah, double checking the info here. And yeah, race winner is 1. So yeah, so basically minimum would be 42 points for the race winner here. And again, we talked about that 4-point margin coming into tonight. Now it's going to be, it kind of turns into 5, if you will, with the pole for the one truck. So basically, even if Gabe finishes in second, it's right now the math would actually still look better for Sebastian with the win. So I'll say Gabe probably has to try to do everything he can to keep that 23 truck out of victory lane.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch it play out. And the other thing that causes a little bit of a wrinkle in all this is as the race progresses, if we have a few more of these cautions, number one, the fuel strategy is going to get a little bit complicated. But number two, you're going to have a couple trucks in the field that aren't 100%. I see Jacob Lamb starting there in fourth. He may be a lap down, actually. I think he is. But starting there near the front right now, and he's a little bit ruffled up there. So the farther into this race we go, the more trucks you're going to see like that, and they're going to be right there in the mix with these lead guys that are looking for a championship.
Yeah, and the other thing, I mean, look at this grid here. We're going to pretty much have the whole field single file here, Brandon. So say the only two we have lined up side by side are Robert DuPont, Paul Sheldon on the outside row, but then everybody else on back is actually on the inside here, single file. So this is going to kind of shake up a little bit the way this restart could possibly go. And honestly, I mean, if I'm the 07 truck, if you went early, this could really shake up the running order here as they wait for that green flag to fly. As I think, yeah, that's a really late throw for the green flag. A little surprised there, and it looked like things were really jumbled up towards the front. I saw a couple trucks kind of creeping forward. They're a little early, honestly, from where I was standing. So we'll have to see. Say we might see some possible pit penalties, honestly, from that restart we just saw.
Yeah, we may get a couple penalties, but more than that, when it jumbles up like that, it allows the field to kind of accordion to a certain extent. So as we see Sebastian Marin already getting a gap between him and Gabe Butler and working his way to try to get up to the front, he is taking no chances in just trying to be where he wants to be at any point in the game. Doesn't want to let the field decide it. He wants to decide it for himself.
Yeah, so you got Dustin Lamb there, say getting a huge push from that 23 of Sebastian Marin. I say he almost got enough to clear him to say, but now say here comes the momentum back on the inside line to go back to Robert DuPont. So they stay 2 by 2 here as they go back through the start finish line. Like I said, you see right there tagged right on the back there that one truck of Gabe Butler. But again, like we talked about, I mean, look at the spacing we have right now. These guys all spread out just a little bit here. They're going to kind of have to get together and start to work together to make sure they regain the momentum back with each other. Because right now, looking at the spacing of trucks, I mean, I think we've got safely about the top 12 altogether. But then 13th on back, Randy Miner, BK Anderson, they're on the outside looking in, I think, right now. I don't know if they're going to be able to tag back onto this pack here. So right now, I think it's going to be about the top 11 to 12 trucks that are going to be right now in a safe spot to be in this main draft.
Yeah, we've seen crazier things in weeks past. If Fitzgerald and Randy Miner can really get together and really work well, they're not going to be swapping positions, so they may be able to work their way back up, but it's going to be a tall road to hoe for sure. So we're already back 3 wide up front, so anything could happen at this point.
Yeah, remember what I was saying about the Groovers playing nice? Yeah, they just go to the top. They're just like, yeah, let's just go top. Let's just push our way to the front. I say that seems the safest place is to just control this race up front if we can.
Yeah, if you don't have to worry about the other cars and you can just kind of make your own decisions, then that's a good place to be. So a lot of these guys have worked together a long time and know how to push and how to draft with each other. But when you're brothers, you would expect it to be a little bit different.
Yeah, and that's the thing is they've worked so well together just pretty much when they kind of came on the scene here at Area 51. So I say right now, as you can see, they're really squeezing each other. The 59 truck not holding the bottom as well as the one truck would definitely be hoping for. And that got really tight between, I believe that was the 010 and the 23 there. But so far they're able to keep it clean and green still. But yeah, right now at the front, pretty much 3 by 3. You can see again the 171 Robert Rock just a little bit off the side there. But again, I think he's exactly where he needs to be in the draft, but just far enough away where he can react should anything happen. Which I'll say, again, like I said, even with the group like we have a little dwindled down, it seems like these guys, like I said, that movement's still really starting to kind of show its head.
Yeah, a lot of times what you see when you've got smaller packs like this is there's not quite as much energy in the draft, which you would think would cause it to kind of calm down. But a lot of times what happens is guys just push harder. What'll happen, I think, here is these guys will push and push and push, and have a few close calls, and hopefully they'll kind of fan out and give each other a little bit of space. But as soon as this second pack of cars, if they can get together and join this pack, it's going to add that much extra energy to that front group and really amp it up again.
Yeah, and actually do need to mention about that group, but actually we're down to, it looks like, I believe, 10 cars in this pack. Yeah, Robert Rock being the last of those in at 10th place. But so he's got to be careful. Doesn't want to draft too far off the back because, like I said, that group a little further back with Bud Steele, Eric Laurie. They've also picked up J.D. Crow, so they're going to, I say it's only 3 trucks, so it's going to be tough sledding to get up there, so we'll see what kind of lap times they can put towards the front. However, I do need to mention, though, up front now, it's been Seth Groover with the help from Sebastian Marin. I'll say they're just about to clear that 07 of Robert DuPont, as the 02 is clear, but the 23 not as of yet. But say, as we've been saying, that one truck keeping that 23 right in his sights, and not much more you can do than being right on the back bumper.
Yeah, these guys, they're not content to ride, that's for sure. So, the top 2 guys in the championship are just kind of jockey positions back and forth, top to bottom. And but I think Gabe has got the right idea that if he keeps the 23 truck in his sights, he's going to be in pretty safe position. And the 23 of Sebastian Marin is probably going to have the same idea of just stay close to his championship contender and let it come down to the last lap.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. Is I think they're wait to make the right move at the right time and say hope you have the help when you need it. So looking at lap times, a little further back we mentioned Bud Steele, Eric Laurie and company. They're unfortunately, it looks like about a second slower with just those 3 trucks, so they're not getting what they need to lap time wise. But honestly, if I was in this mix right now, I'd be doing exactly what Robert Rock is doing right here. You're in that draft, you're not going to lose it, but you're playing it nice and safe. Let's say you've got a couple of truck lengths in front of you, so you have easy enough time to react and to move where you need to kind of keep that truck out of any additional harm's way, again, out of faster pairs. So when these guys up front are pushing like they are, so you need to kind of any and every room you have to kind of react is definitely kind of a blessing, really.
Oh, yeah. I think where Robert Rock is right now is what they call the catbird seat. He can just sit back, let everything kind of come to him. He's going to be able to see the field if anything does get out of sorts. But for the time being, he's just biding his time and making sure he's there at the end when it counts.
Yeah, exactly right. And I mean, that's really, kind of the way this race has gone so far and the way it's all spread out right now. I mean, I said we've been focusing on the top 10. We've talked a little bit about that group of 3 a little further back with Bud Steele, Eric Laurie. Let's say, but then we got to keep going almost 20 seconds back to pick up Randy Miner. He's stuck off on his own right now, about half a lap down. Then same thing, got to go to BK Anderson. Probably looks like another like 10-15 seconds off of Randy Miner. And same thing, Michael Spell. He's off running on his own here, about to get eaten up by the leaders here in just another lap or 2. And then, like we mentioned, you've got the 020 of Jacob Lamb. He's working with that 08 of Bob Fitzgerald. But the whole field just really, really spread out right now. So it's really kind of changed the complexion of this race as we continue on. So really the biggest chance for anything to happen is really this lead pack right here, just with the sheer number of trucks that they've got at the moment.
Yeah, Sebastian Marin's doing all he can right now just to kind of lead this race. And you see he's dropped down from that top line to the bottom. Let Gabe Butler run the top. But, as they come up on this lap car, the fact that they're too wide probably makes it a little bit easier. Michael Spell is going to stay high. It's not going to be long before he joins that pack. And then a few laps after that, BK Anderson's going to do the same thing. And we'll see if that intensity ratchets up a little bit.
Yeah, saying do need to mention, still watching Bud Steele and company. Actually, that last time by, they were about 0.4 of a second quicker than the lead pack. So it was a 52.38 for Bud Steele to a 52.78 for Gabe Butler, Sebastian Marin. So, and saying actually, speaking of that, it was a big move there for Gabe. While we were I was looking at the numbers. We saw him get to the outside, got that big push from the 01. He's joined the party now as well, take over the lead. And honestly, this is, I think, something that Gabe needs to try to do. Probably need to be aggressive, try to get that extra bonus point again. If he can get that second additional point there, that's just going to be all the more he can try to do. That could put it to a 6-point difference between himself and Sebastian before we get to the checker flag of this race.
Yeah, that's the big question right now. Do you put your nose out there and be aggressive, try to lead every lap, or do you sit back and try to let the field do what the field's going to do? You know, we've got a tale of two strategies there. Robert sitting there at the back of this pack, you know, doing exactly what he needs to do to keep his nose clean. And the other two contenders, Gabe Butler and Sebastian Marin, letting it all out every lap and not content to just sit there and ride.
Yeah, and speaking of us, you can see the Lamb brothers starting to pick back up as well. You got Nicholas Lamb in the 5 shoving the 01 right now. Almost got him to the front there. You know, he's got to peek out, get some fresh air on the front of that truck as well. And then right behind him, he's got the 010 of Dustin Lamb. I think it was actually last week we had really started to pick up discussions of Dustin Lamb in that 010, where he stayed out and, like we mentioned, kind of really hadn't been in the front pack a lot over the course of the season. But then was kind of just thrust into it and did an awesome job. So I think that gave him a lot of confidence, and we're seeing it right back again here tonight. Now running again, third truck in the outside line in contention here.
And not to throw another Lamb into it, but it looks like here in just a few more laps, we're going to have Jacob Lamb and Bob Fitzgerald getting swallowed up by the field as well. So every time the field comes around and picks up another lap car, or at least goes around another lap car, there's the chance that car comes back into the field and into that pack and just adds a little bit of energy to the draft. So the fact that there are 2 lap cars here together, they're going to have to work together, though, to stay out of the way and let these leaders race.
Yeah, saying again, like you said, the bonus is these guys running 2x2. It really should give the opportunity where they can just stay up against the wall and then be able to kind of just then pick up on the back. I'm saying that's going to throw in again. That's going to be then the battle is going to be who can get that lucky dog position, because right now it's sitting in the lap of Michael Spell in the 88 car or truck, I should say. But then the second of those is going to be BK Anderson. So what's going to happen now though for not Randy Minor. Let me go back to Michael Spell here. It's actually those 2 trucks just got swung by and they're not able to hold on very well here like I thought they would, Brandon. So a little surprised by that. So unfortunately it's actually not going to pick up the energy like we thought it might.
Yeah, you know, I'm kind of surprised. Usually you would see a lap truck that they would try to, you know, stay out of the way, but as soon as the field cleared, they'd jump down and try to get a little bit of the draft. But those 2, they stayed up and stayed out of the way, maybe a little bit too long, and looks like they're probably going to lose the sniff of that front draft and lose the opportunity to gain back into that lucky dog position.
Yeah, right now it's 2, I'd say 2.5 wide, I guess you could call it right now, because you've got the 52 Paul Sheldon. He's kind of joining the party here in between the 5 and the 010. They're trying to work together here. And yeah, you're definitely not wrong there, Karen. I'm very, very dicey behind Patrick right now. And I think that's what Patrick is doing right now. He's trying to get clear of all of this. And I think, as I say that, I think this is probably his best opportunity now, where he just for, I think, a split second there, Brandon, had his nose probably enough where he could have cleared that one truck, but then the energy, like you talked about, that push from the 23, able to promote the one back just close enough to prevent him from making that move happen. But I think Seth said, I think Patrick's having more fun than I am right now. So I'm watching Seth here kind of peek out a little bit here, trying to see if that third line might give him a little bit of something right now too.
Yeah, from what I can tell, that looks like, kind of really what separates the guys who are there on occasion and from the guys who are there on a regular basis. You look at Sebastian Marin or Gabe Butler, and they're there, at the front of the field every week. And I think the main thing is number one, they're willing to take that chance, but also they know how to work the side draft a little bit. So I'm watching the 10 truck of Patrick Groover when he comes off the corner. Instead of tucking down, trying to get a little bit of side draft from that other line, he kind of comes wide and separates from it. So I think that's probably a little bit maybe of an experience thing, or maybe it's just a decision to play it safe. But what it's done is it's cost him. He's down back in 5th or 6th position, and he's going to have to recoup that line to get back up front.
Yeah, it looks like it is starting to reform. They're making the move. I'm watching the 23. Does he pop up in front of this 01 truck and try to lead that group? But he's actually staying contention. I would have thought that would have been the opportunity for Sebastian to say, all right, here comes the momentum. I'm going to jump in front. You push me to the front. Because like I said, on the most lap sled here, Gabe's been leading a couple of them in a row now. Unfortunately, we don't have the lap sled count, which would be a huge benefit for us to be able to kind of see the lap counters of who's done what right here. But at the line, you see Gabe just a nose ahead there in that one truck. But, that's the things I think I'd be a little more aggressive in the 23. As I said, being the one that needs to get around the one truck in the points, try to keep him from getting those bonus points.
Yeah, at this point, every lap that Gabe is sitting in front of the 23 is a lap that the 23 can't get back. So, Gabe has been aggressive the entire race and has led a fair number of laps. It doesn't take a lap counter to know that he's got a fair number of them, and probably the most laps led at this point. And it's not going to be long before we come up on halfway, and at that point, it's just going to get that much tighter for Sebastian Marin to get out there and try to get that extra point.
I say we're getting some insider info as well. So do need to go back a little bit. So the TJ Travels Esports team mentioning this day, they were just talking with Robert, and what we were mentioning earlier is exactly what he's doing. He's just trying to keep in the draft, keep it safe, and then once it comes crunch time, if he's in contention, he's going to go after it with help from his teammates, which I just noticed Randy Miner locked on right behind him, in a safe distance. So expect to see those two if they get the opportunity to work together as well. And then for the interesting side of things, let's say some mentions of Sebastian right now. He's bored. I think just the way this race has unfolded. I think as spread out as the field is here, it's not what he's used to. He's used to that white knuckle 3-wide racing about 5 rows deep, and we just like I said, the way this race has kind of started off, it's really kind of gone away from what we've been used to seeing week in and week out.
Yeah, we've seen some aggression the past few weeks, especially, and we've seen a fair number of cautions, but for whatever reason, the field size started out really strong on this one, and then just through attrition, those cautions really took a lot of people out of the race. So not quite as much energy in the pack, not quite as much of a field size here. But what I'm seeing is these guys are starting to pair up. They're getting single file again, but I think they're lining up for pit stops.
Yep. As I was looking, it's like, all right, everybody's getting single file. What's going on? Oh, yep, lap 34. So that's now the next question, and that could be actually a strategy call too. This might be why Sebastian's been trying to just go in cruise control. Maybe he's going to try to run one extra lap over Gabe. Maybe try to get that big pit stop and maybe try to jump him in the pits here. We'll see. We got 2 trucks hitting in so far. Looks like Robert DuPont's coming in, bringing Jay Hilliard along with him. See Robert locking him up here. Also, we got the 01, the 02 coming together. Dustin Lamb's in there with him as well. So it looks like we've got 5 or 6 trucks here all hitting pit road together. So Gabe Butler, Sebastian Marin, they're going to go at least one more lap here, which I think I like this. You always want to have just a little extra margin if you get the opportunity to in these races. Just again, the opportunity of a green, white, checkered, or sometimes the field number's not quite right. It's always nice to have that extra little bit, maybe a couple tenths or whatever it might take in the tank to get you that to the end without risk of sputtering.
Yeah, these guys, they want to get it as far as they can. They want to make sure that their numbers kind of line up a little bit. But I'm watching these top 3 in the championship: Gabe Butler, Sebastian Marin, and Robert Rock. They're all kind of mirroring each other at this point. I don't think you're going to see one of them jump out of line and drop down to pit road without the other 2. So at this point, just watching the gamesmanship happen for this pit road strategy. But it should only be another lap or so for all of those guys.
Yeah, and so actually what I think might be happening was that second group decided, you know what, let's basically try to force their hand. So I think that's what we actually were seeing there with Robert DuPont, Jay Hilliard, Patrick Seth Groover, and Dustin Lamb. They wanted to go different here and basically pit once they were in their window. The other thing that might do is that it should make it a shorter pit stop because there'll be less fuel that they would have had to put into their trucks. So say this might be something where they can maybe try to separate themselves a little bit from Gabe, Sebastian, Paul, Nicholas, and Robert here. So it's going to be interesting to see how the strategy plays out. And so you can see everybody starting to duck into the pit. So here's going to be our second group of our leaders hitting pit road. And you see everybody nicely spread apart here to make sure they all get a nice clean entry. Looks like no contact around the field, so good job by these guys. Now it's going to be making sure they hit their pit stalls here nice and clean.
Yeah, Sebastian Marin, as usual, taking a dive on the pit road. But, he is usually one of the more aggressive when it comes to getting on the pit road, and that's why his on-pit road times are usually on the lower end. And we watch Gabe Butler overshoot his pit a little bit, so we'll see. But hopefully that won't be too detrimental to him in the long run. Yeah,
so he's going to have to do here is try to tag onto the back of the draft because you can see Sebastian already down and gone. This is going to separate Gabe a little bit. But the downside for Sebastian is, look, he's off on his own and say this is actually going to put Gabe right with Nicholas. I say because the other guys had a little bit slower pit stops as well. So any other race, if you're Sebastian, you're loving life right now. It's like, oh yeah, I got a great stop. I got seconds on these guys. Then you look at your intervals like, I got nobody around me here, and I know Gabe's got someone to dratch with. So basically for Sebastian here, it's So you thought he was bored earlier. He's going to be really bored right now because this is basically qualifying for him, just waiting for the draft pack to catch back up to him.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be bored for long. We've already watched the second-place car of Gabe Butler get swallowed up by that second pack because they are coming with a head of steam. So with him out there by himself, he's we've got contact.
Yeah, the 010 went around Dustin Lamb. That's going to bring out the yellow, and I think Robert Rock just may have got a piece of the 010 as well. And that's going to be potential significant right front damage to that truck. Looking at it a little closer, and I think he does indeed have some right front damage to that truck. Doesn't look terrible, so you always hope that's maybe a little bit of a netco, but I definitely see some right front damage to that truck. So caution, a good break for Sebastian. Go ahead there, Brandon.
A little bit of contact for Gabe Butler as well. It looked like what caused that is the 10 truck actually came into the corner and came down. He just came down on Gabe, so Gabe's got a little bit of right front damage as well. So this could shake up the strategy for a lot of guys here.
Yeah, and we talked about the bonus points, incident-free race. I mean, that would probably be a 4x on the incident point side as well for that one truck. So you're right. I mean, that's going to really kind of change things in this. And if that 23 truck's been incident-free, which we saw a long pit stop for him, possibly due to contact, that could be an opportunity. So let's go back and try to see what exactly happened. I say it was around the 010 we had mentioned. So we're going to go and jump to him with Dustin Lamb.
Yeah, it just looks like the 10 had a run coming up the middle down the back straightaway. I don't know if he thought he was clear or what, but just came down right on the right front of Gabe Butler, and then as he spun back up on the track, Robert Rock just had nowhere to go. Just terrible luck for Robert tonight.
Yeah, it is kind of a little odd there. Say the way it planned out. You see quick reaction by the 5 to just sneak around there. But I say then we'll tag back a little bit to Robert. Like I said, at this point you're on the brakes, and you're just hoping you guess right because you don't know if they're going to drop to the bottom or if the banking is going to, or if they're going to go to the top of the bank is going to take them low. And unfortunately, just was not quite low enough, and it catches that 010 truck. So. Again, a little bit more damage for that 171. So now the question, of course, is going to be, let's jump back live here, is going to be some strategy as Robert DuPont's the first to leave pit road. So we're watching Gabe Butler, and yeah, it's definitely a longer pit stop here, Brandon, which tells us saving that fast repair in that one.
Yeah, that's going to be his best bet. Usually there's a little bit of action here at the end of these races. I don't know that it was terribly hard contact. I mean, obviously it was enough to spin the 010 car, but I don't think that he's going to be hurt long run. I think the main thing is when he, in the past at the beginning of the race, he could kind of stick his nose out there and sometimes make passes with minimal help, and that's probably going to be a little bit harder going forward. But good news is it looks like he probably did get the opportunity to save that fast repair, and will be in better shape if there is any bad luck near in the second half of the race.
Yeah, exactly right. And it looks like everybody went ahead and took the opportunity to get service done to their cars. So pretty quick stops for most of the leaders here. Robert DuPont, Sebastian Marin. Looks like just fuel for those guys. We got a couple trucks here that are definitely going to take advantage of this. I believe to either get a lap or more back. One of those is JD Crow in the number 35. The other is the 32 of BK Anderson, as they were sitting 15th and 16th respectively. And I think they were 2 down. This is going to put them back to just 1 lap down. As also need to mention, I believe it was Randy Miner, the 101, got the wave round, so he's back on the lead lap there in that truck. Which is now going to give 3 drivers here battling for the lucky dog position. It's going to be the 88 of Michael Spell, and then BK Anderson and JD Crow once we get back going here.
Yeah, the other thing I'm looking at here is the strategy side of this for the rest of the field. Because of when this caution came out, a lot of these cars had already pit cycled. And may have been a little bit off cycle from some of the guys who just pitted under caution here. But really, I think what it's going to do is allow some of these guys to extend their run a little bit, and maybe if they were off sequence a little bit, bring it back on. And if they weren't off sequence, maybe get off a little bit, but still do a one-stop race here.
Yeah, so we're seeing a few drivers top off here. Patrick, Seth Gruber, Gabe Butler, and Eric Laurie all coming in to top off. Also Michael Spell, who's 1 down, we mentioned. So they're all going to hit pit road here, just get a little extra fuel. You see there goes the 32, 35. They're going to go ahead and get back to just 1 down instead of the 2 down. So it is a great opportunity for those guys to gain a little bit of track position. But yeah, so like I said, I mean, just like you said, the attrition, I mean, it looks like we're down to, I believe, 16 trucks remaining. So I think, unfortunately, the 010 of Dustin Lamb went ahead and retired after that incident. So let's say we started with 22. We're down to, I believe, 16 now. And like I mentioned, of those, we've got 12 of which are on the lead lap still in this race.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like I said before, I think there's probably not going to be quite as much draft energy in the pack going forward, but you got guys that know how to push and they know how to make things happen. Right now, if I were Gabe Butler, I'm concerned about that 23 truck. He just seems to be setting out front, creating his own destiny right now, and Gabe's got to make some things happen to get back up there and take some of that lead away.
Yeah, definitely. You're definitely right there. And say again, getting some great info, say from again from the TGA Travels Esports, and basically just kind of with the iRacing spotter miscue. Say the 010 spotter told him he was clear. I saying it's just one of those things where just was clear of the truck on the outside, but the mistake was was basically blank. Was okay. You cleared the outside truck, but then there's still the truck on the inside, and so. Just a little bit of a miscommunication there. I'm not sure if it's an iRacing spotter, or possibly we know some drivers use live spotters as well. So just unfortunate miscommunication. We've definitely seen that from time to time as well. So I mean, that's part of racing. Spotters crucially important here in iRacing. So never what you want to have happen. But Gabe's still in the race, and it's just going to kind of ramp things up, I think, all that little bit more here.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have a ramped up second half of this race. Should be a single stop, and we're getting ready to go back green.
And that's going to be the next question, is that single stop you mentioned. Could it be in the... Because you look at the... Basically, we're going to restart 35 to go here, as it's going to be Robert DuPont once again leading the field back to green. Is it in the window where maybe drivers can look at going a little off sequence, maybe try to go hit a little earlier, maybe take a little less fuel in these trucks? So we'll have to wait and see. But right off the bat, though, Sebastian Marin gets a great restart. If he just needs a little more push here from that 52, had a chance to clear that 07 truck. Now it looks like they're going to kind of get lined up here, go side by side here, back through two down the backstretch.
Yeah, I was actually watching the second pack here. That it started off as one pack, but they got kind of jumbled up there at the start. Gabe Butler, I was worried about him losing that front pack draft, but looks like they're coming back to him. A little bit of intensity going into turn one for the second half of the field.
Yeah, he's got good help from Michael Spell right behind him. And again, honestly, let's say for Michael, Gabe might be one of his best friends here, because if you can kind of work with him to kind of shove your way back towards the front. Let's say again, the 88 wants to try to be that first truck one down here, as Gabe, like I said, easily catches onto the back of the lead pack. Now the question is, does he ride? Nope, he's going to jump to the top, put that 3 wide here, as we've been seeing week after week, as they're going to go 3x3 once again.
Yeah, these guys, they're not content. They're not going to sit around. And oddly enough, I'm looking through the field, and I'm seeing Robert Rock just sit back out there running and keeping up. So we'll see how he does. But Gabe Butler, not content, putting the 23 in the middle line, and maybe even clear him by the next lap.
Yeah, as he is, there he goes in. I saw right there something that I've done before, and you almost saw it happen right there, where the Michael Spell was just fully committed to pushing that one truck. But then as soon as Gabe was starting to drop to the inside, Michael wanted to follow through. Just again, you're focused so much on that truck in front of you, and almost went down too soon, too early there. Was able to jump back high enough in time to avoid contact with that 23. But I've been there, done that, unfortunately. But we're already getting a lot of movement once again here up front.
Yeah, cars jockeying for position. You would think that there were 50 cars in this pack again, because it's so much energy. They're 3 wide again. The 23 trying to do all he can to get back in front of the 01 of Gabe Butler. The 1 of Gabe Butler. But right now they are even coming down the back straightaway.
Yeah, let's say 3x3. It looks like about 2 rows deep at the moment, about to be 4 rows deep. And actually had a great question here as well, Brandon, on YouTube, asking about why some of these drivers were single file on these last couple of restarts. And basically just it's the way iRacing scores these. It scores the cars, where basically if you pit on the first opportunity, at that point, yeah, you're going to restart double file. However, if you top off on the one to go from there, anybody that tops off on the one to go, it pretty much just puts you single file. So, and we saw so many trucks were opting to go with that top off approach on the one to go, and that's why we saw so many trucks wind up single file on these restarts. So, It's kind of interesting that it's the way it played out. So we haven't seen that in a lot of races. So it's very interesting to see. And so I do need to mention, though, race leader is not J.D. Crowe right now, but right now is on the tail end of the lead lap. So he's definitely wanting to stay where he is. I'll say, because if we do get a yellow, he would be in a great position to not even have to worry about restarting behind the field on the restart. So I'll say right now he's definitely enjoying having Sebastian Marin being that pusher.
Yeah, the cars came out of the trioval the last time by, and Sebastian Marin, dropped down to the inside line to get in front of Gabe. But then that third line, the far outside line, had such a head of steam that J.D. Crowe was able to go top to bottom and get in front of everybody. So, not only are these championship contenders trying to control their own destiny, as we see the one of Gabe Butler go to the second lane, these lap down cars are trying to do the same. These guys are all hungry for a win. They don't want to get in the way of these championship contenders, but at the same time, it's a race, and they are trying to get the wins.
Yeah, I see Sebastian. He had the opening just in time to jump in front of the one, and that's exactly what he did there. So he's able to take advantage of that and basically get the push from that one truck to try to jump around the 35. And as soon as he gets cleared, he jumps straight to the inside once more. And like you said, last time it was really close for that one in the 52 with the one trying to jump to that second groove. So like I said, these guys just not giving any inches right now. They're just going for everything they have. Like I said, we kind of expected a little more cautiousness, but definitely has not been the case. And again, I think the one truck might be in a similar situation as that 171 was involved in an incident earlier. So it's like, hey, at this point, I might as well be aggressive. He does have the faster pair still in his pocket, but knowing that the fact that at this point probably has some incident points under his belt from that door contact, he might as well at this point try to keep the aggression on and just get every bonus point he can.
Yeah, aggressive move coming through the trioval there for Gabe, coming down to get in front of the 23 of Sebastian Marin. But big move for Patrick Gruber a little bit further back in the pack, coming through there. Got a little bit sideways. I don't think I've seen a truck get that sideways on the straightaway in a while, and barely lost any momentum. He's lost some ground, but he kept it going in the right direction.
And you saw as soon as the opportunity opened for Sebastian Marin, he saw the 52 coming with a little bit of momentum. He jumps to the top, try to pick up Paul Sheldon there. That's going to put the 1 and the 35 together. We haven't seen that combination yet, I don't think, tonight. But we know Gabe and J.D. Crowe are very, very good working with one another as well here. But with all that movement, here come the 01, the 02, Patrick Seth Gruber. As like I said, they're never shy to make that third line happen. And they're on the charge here, working that third line now.
Yeah, I don't think anyone gave these guys the notice that there's still 30 laps to go. These guys are swapping positions every corner. I'd be interested to see a lap timer of how many lead changes we've had during this race, because these guys are not content to ride. Any advantage they can get, they are taking it.
Yeah, I think it might also be one of those things. So like, hey, this is the last race of the season. Let's get any and all aggression out before we get the break. So they're definitely leaving nothing on the table here. As again, right now, 3x3, just again, like you said, Brandon, just kind of who has the surge at the right time. At the line that time, I believe it was Sebastian Marin. It just kind of ebbs and flows between the middle, inside and outside lines. Right now, last time I was the middle. Now it looks like the inside's got just a little bit of that momentum. And I think down the back, we're going to once again see that middle line start to form and get that bit of a push.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've got the chat turned on your side, but big move by Sebastian Marin. I'm listening to these guys. They're kind of talking a little bit of strategy. Even Robert Rock still there, hanging on to the back of the pack, right where he needs to be. All he's got to do is finish the race, and if these two guys in front can take each other out. But these guys are starting to talk a little bit of strategy. Are they going to pit a little bit early, have a little bit shorter of a stop, or are they going to go to the end of this fuel run? But it may not matter. These guys are getting so close together and moving around so much.
Yeah, so you saw Gabe try to hop in front of that 52, and I say the 52 had none of it. He jumps to the third line to try to keep that momentum going for him. Now you got trying to see who that truck was that they're coming up. I think it was the 08 there, Bob Fitzgerald. When Bob saw that pack coming, he's like, yeah, I'm going to drop to the apron here. And he's going to roll out, let the field swing on by, and hopefully, like we talked about before, hopefully tag onto the back of that draft. And you see also that 35 J.D. Crowe. He was able to find the one truck again. The one jumps from it, and actually both clear the 35 pretty much off the course of turn 2 all the way down the backstretch. Just those two locked up pretty much perfectly there.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that. We saw in practice, and Gabe actually saw this in practice, where you can lock up a little bit and get down, and you can get a heck of a run, as we just saw. But 1 minute or 1 inch just off center, move just the wrong way, and you wreck the field. So you got to be careful. But that was, I think, a calculated risk by Gabe to make sure that he's taking as many points away from Sebastian as he can, and just trying to maintain that lead from him.
Yeah, yep, exactly right. And like you said, strategy-wise on the pit stops, I mean, we're just about getting towards about that window here, about 5 more laps, and we'll start to see that window officially open. But again, I think these trucks can go probably another 3 or so laps further. Pretty much most of the leaders here pitting on lap 38, 39 range. So again, go about 20 laps from there. So that puts them right around lap 59 to 60. So I'll say they could basically pit right around 15 to go, most likely. Just really depends on how aggressive, how risky they want to gamble, and possibly just kind of take any chance of a green-white checker out of the window and just run the field to a scheduled finish. And then if there is a late yellow, might have to jump back in for service. So that's going to be interesting to see. But right now, say with all the movement around, which it's really been doing, is it's kind of put the advantage back to this front of the field on the inside line. Because right now, the 23 Sebastian Marin just doesn't have any options. Can't do anything right now because he doesn't have that push on the middle lane yet. But I think, as I was going to say, once it does show up, he's definitely not going to be one to hesitate to work his way back up there.
Yeah, I was watching the 5 car of Nicholas Lamb lead that second line, and I for a while I thought these guys were just kind of lining up for that pit strategy in the next 4 or 5 laps, but maybe they were just kind of regrouping. It had gotten a little bit crazy for a few laps there, and some of these guys probably have worked their way down to the bottom lane just to be safe for a pit stop whenever they or their teammates want to go. But that second lane, Sebastian Marin jumping in front of the 5 truck of Nicholas Lamb, not waiting around, still trying to make it happen and control their own destiny.
Yeah, but I'm saying what that's done is that's, again, with the 35 truck leading the inside line, that's effectively given the lead to the 23. So we can, again, talk about bonus points. And so right now, I'll say that would basically be giving the 23 basically laps led over that number 1 truck right now. So the other thing I think it's going to do is it's going to force these 2 trucks on the inside just to push probably that little bit harder. I think they're probably able to take it a little easier when they're running mostly single file for a handful of rows. But now that I think you're going to see that aggression ramp up just that little bit extra between that 35 and the 1.
Yeah, not only that, but what I've seen happen a little bit tonight is when you've got a truck like the 5 car of Nicholas Lamb, who's been there pretty much all night, but hasn't been at the very front of the pack. Sometimes the pushes are a little bit different. They feel a little different to you. So if you're that second car, you may be able to draft up to the lead car pretty easily, but then all of a sudden you get a push from behind, and it's not necessarily a physical push, but just that extra air pushing you along can kind of cause some issues there too. So sometimes may push a little bit too hard. But right now I'm watching that 5 truck. He's pretty steady now, but a few laps ago he had to kind of settled into that pushing and get a little comfortable with it.
Yeah, so another thing too is, and that's the question as well, is you never know. Say, okay, is it them getting off-centered, or is it, actually, as I said, yeah, definitely a little bit of off-center there. You saw the little wiggle from Sebastian. There's also going to be occasional times where they're going to go probably stagger off just a little bit, just for the sake of trying to get a little bit of air onto the front of these trucks, keep the oil cool, keep the water cool, because you can only get locked on or run so tight for so long before you guys start to see those lights flash in your truck. So I say, unfortunately, we never get to see which ones are flashing when. But man, you say Nicholas is giving it everything he can. Saying actually, while we were talking about that, I say had one of the viewers rooting him on in that 5 truck. So I think probably a little extra incentive as well there for Nicholas.
Yeah, Nicholas is doing a great job. But I think he may be making a big move there by Sebastian Marin. I'm not sure if he was forced into that or if he was just trying to get to the bottom line. But yeah, doing a great job of pushing Sebastian. A little bit off center at times, but that's what you got to do to cool these trucks down as you go.
And as I was gonna say, it's like Nicholas, like, oh, finally I can breathe a little bit. And as soon as they do that, the 35 of JD Crow, he jumps to the top, and again gets a great push there from that 5. And then he jumps immediately straight in front of that 23. These guys, again, even a lap down, these guys are just so aggressive right now. Again, like you said, knowing there's still a pit stop to go. And speaking of which, pretty much this time around would be right at the edge of that window. Say we're going to be coming around to 20 to go here. So do we see any strategy calls? Do we see maybe some drivers that are running mid-pack and just say, hey, let's jump in here, take a short fill on the fuel and then see if we can maybe jump these guys in the pits. And the two that I'm watching, I'll say, hopefully nobody's listening in on the broadcast, but I'm watching those two Nintendo Lego trucks right now. I'm thinking they might have something going on, because I say I'm noticing them drop a little further back than I would think. And actually here they're gonna, we got pretty much everybody coming in now. We got about, let's say it's actually going to start with Sebastian Marin, the 35 there as well, Eric Laurie, Bud Steele. So we've got a handful of trucks here, about 8 it looks like, hitting pit road as soon as that window opened.
Yeah, if I'm a crew chief, this is the right call. You want to spend as little time on pit road as possible. And then you're going to come out with a full tank of fuel that can make it to the end, as long as we don't have a green-white checker. To me, this is the strategy call, though, that gets you a little bit of a gap if you're ever going to get one.
And that's what we're going to be watching. Is I'm going to be watching the pit stop time, because is it in the window where you can maybe just take one can of fuel, don't have to plug in that second can, because that really could be the make or break of your pit stop time. So now the question is, if you're Gabe Butler and company, do you react to these guys, or you can go probably about 5 more laps? Do you run a little further? Just depends on, I think, what the race pace is, and I think we're getting our answer. Yep, right now. So you see the one, he's going to head in with the 101. The 59's coming in along with him, the 5. So far looks like a clean stop as well. The 171 Robert Rock also. So they wasted no time. They wanted to react to that, which is leaving now Paul Sheldon, almost a lonely man, but hopefully the 88 Michael Spell, maybe they can work together and at least kind of minimize the damage here.
Yeah, and Michael, I guess, probably had to run a little bit of a strategy call as well. He was having a trouble, getting up there where he needed to be to get that lucky dog position. So doing this and hoping for a little bit of good luck may get him he's already on the lead lap, but may get him back on the lead lap for good if there's any kind of misfortune for everyone else.
Yeah, so now we're watching the pit stop cycle. As you can see, it's actually Eric Laurie who's cycled through to the front at the moment. Now we got to see who's the leader out of the pits. And it's going to be the Gabe Butler. But look at that, though. They already swing by him. Just that 1 lap difference. Look at the advantage that group has. So at this point, Gabe's going to have to try to tag on to the second pack of trucks. So this is going to be very interesting to see kind of if they can catch that group, because it's already down to about 2 seconds or so here. As you see Bud Steele actually down to the apron. He's going to have to find room to get in. He does. But yeah, so the second group's going to have to start getting pretty aggressive here to try to make sure they can get back up to Eric Laurie, Sebastian Marin and company, which I think they should be all right. There's only the 3 of them. So they should be all right. I need to mention Paul Sheldon. He is on pit road, and as I actually already down and away. Now he's got to make sure if he can hopefully hold on to these guys, but it's going to be tough sledding for him, as he had to run that 1 lap with just that 1 truck helping.
If there's ever a guy that can push a first-place truck to a faster pace than the rest of the pack, it's Sebastian Marin. But he's got a tall road in front of him. This pack is going to spool up and really create a lot of energy. But if he can really push these other cars to keep that distance, which looks like that distance is collapsing as I speak, but great pusher anyway. We'll see what happens here as the pack comes back around to him, but I think we'll see some action when that happens.
Yeah, so you already see right now Patrick Gruber locked on with that 35 truck again. I don't think we're going to get rid of JD Crow anytime soon, because he's in it to get his lap back and then be able to try to win this race. Is a big move from that 01. As soon as he was clear, he jumped straight to that inside line. And now you see, as soon as that happened, the 23's decided he's going to go middle. And here comes Gabe Butler. He's got that 101 truck with him. And I say now it's just kind of who's going to negotiate the traffic where, because everybody's going to want to go where the momentum is. But I say everybody's just really jockeying hard right now.
Yeah, we're watching Gabe Butler come right around the outside again, which is really, putting himself in a good position, because Sebastian's stuck behind the lap car. But they're shaking out, still 3 wide, and Gabe comes top to bottom. Trying to make sure that he doesn't care what anybody else does, because he's going to win this race. Yeah,
and honestly, I mean, that might be what it comes to. I say, at least for me, I try not to be too tinfoil, but you kind of always like, hey, how come on these championship races, it seems like the contenders always wind up winning the race? And it's like, well, we're kind of seeing that here once more. It might come down to that. And you saw the 23 got right onto the back of Randy Minor. Randy starting to show some muscles. Well, he was the one that pushed that 1 truck to the lead, and now he's been able to get to that middle. Like you said, and if there's a truck that you want to have behind you, it's going to be that 23. That's exactly the situation that Randy's in here.
Yeah, I think that the championship contenders, they kind of work themselves to the top, but regardless, they're leading as many laps as they can, and really, I think when people ask, why is it that they win the race, I think it's because they're like Globo Gem. They're just better than you. They work their way up there. They know how to get there. They're smarter than everyone else, and they just know how to make the right moves at the right time.
I like it. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'll say because again, I mean, at this point, everybody knows they've got what they got to the finish, pending, of course, that potential of those green, white checkers. So that's going to be on the back of their minds, because then if that yellow does come out, how many are there going to be? Are we going to see more than one? If we do, who's going to make the right call? Do they have to pit? Do they have to stay out? Do you risk running out of fuel? There's so much to play for still. And need to mention as well, after all the pit stop cycles have completed here, we still have 11 trucks in the running for the win here tonight. Unfortunately, Paul Sheldon went that one extra lap. That winds up biting him really hard there. As you see the 101, Randy Minor, a big move. He gets straight to the bottom there. He's going to take the point now. But yeah, unfortunately, we lost the 52 in this lead pack. But still 11 going out for the win here.
Yeah, and we haven't talked about him a lot tonight, just because he's kind of been had some misfortune in the early part of the race, actually a couple times. But as we come to 13 to go, we're seeing Robert Rock here work his way up to the front. He's setting fourth car back there on the inside line and getting himself in position to make a run for this thing when all the chips are on the table.
Yeah, that's exactly it too. Again, I mean, it's right now it's like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, he's only in what right now, 8th position. But he's like 0.3 of a second off the lead, and I mean, we know these last laps, let's say, they just get that much more ramped up. And say if he makes the right move at the right time, if something happens, maybe just some, like you said, maybe push too hard or side draft too hard, that could be the deciding factor of this championship. So it's all to play for here. And I really like where Robert is. Like I say, he's starting to ramp up the aggression just a little bit. And speaking of ramping up the aggression, there's Gabe with a huge move out of 4, jump in front of that 23 truck. Once again, get that lead here, and again, I think trying to lead as many laps as he can, wants to make sure he gets that bonus point as well for the most laps, because if the 23 or the 1 can't win this race, even if I say that still could be enough where he needs to make sure he's got the difference in the positions and the bonus points.
Yeah, not only that, but once this 35 truck, if he does get out of the pack and separated between the 101 and the 171, those are teammates, so they can easily link back up and work their way back up to the front here. So we've seen Gabe Butler and Sebastian Marin take that lead again, and they're locked up first and second. But we've also seen that hasn't lasted long. So Robert Rock, I still feel like he's in a really good position. And maybe the underdog here, but also maybe the guy that you just don't see coming until he's there.
And that's exactly right too. Is they might be so focused on one another that it winds up being someone else that you're not paying attention to. And I say right now the one I'm looking at is that third truck line, that Slim Jim of Jay Hilliard. I say he's in a great position here tonight as well. So you never know. Like I said, they might start fighting each other so hard that's like, hey, where'd that guy come from? How did he sneak around us and take the lead and get this win of the race? So let's say again, we're still not quite in single digits here, but I'm going to throw some numbers over at you, Brennan. So again, it was a 4-point difference entering tonight between that 1 and the 23. We know the 1 got the pole position, that puts it to 5, and I'm going to go on the assumption right now that Gabe is going to lead the most laps. I feel like that 1 truck's been out front more than the rest of the field here, so we'll put that to now 6 points difference between the 2 of them before the final results of this race. So we'll look at the bonus points offered after that. So race winner would get 1 bonus point, and then again the difference between first and second is 5 points. If they finish 1-2, depending on the bonus points for incident points, or incident free I should say, being at 3, if both trucks were involved in incidents tonight, that could put these 2 at a tie if they finish 1-2, depending on who has maybe incidents or not in this race.
Yeah, the points are going to be very interesting at this point. We don't know. We're all pretty confident that Gabe Butler does have an incident based off the contact earlier, but we don't know what Sebastian Marin has. He did have a little bit of a long pit stop earlier in the race, so he could have had a little bit of contact, a little bit of damage there. The dark horses, and I don't have it in front of me, but how far back in the points is Robert Rock?
Robert was 8 points out of the lead coming into tonight. I say the downside is he's not in contention or not in position right now for the highest climber, because That one's getting spoiled right now by Nicholas Lime in the 5 truck, who is plus 15. Well, was 15, now plus 13, depending on the lap where he crosses the line from where he started. So I'll say Robert's going to have to try to get way up in the running order to try to jump around that 5 truck. But it's all to play for here. So it's very intriguing how this is going to pan out. What is going to hurt the 23 truck right now is we're down to 10 to go, though, is now he's pinned to the inside because you see the 35, you see the 6 truck of now Bud Steele joining the mix in this one. He doesn't have anywhere now to jump to the outside to try to make that charge to get around that 1 truck, so now he's in a pretty difficult spot at the moment.
Yeah, Bud Steele's got his teammate on the bottom line there, so I think he's going to be pushing that 35 truck for all he's got to try to keep that gap there. That's just a blocked position. The 23 can't make a move. But if it comes down to it, one position separating these guys for the championship, can make or break the entire show. So everybody is actually, everybody is still in contention to win this race. And these top 3 guys, any of the 3 of them can still win this championship.
Yep, and again, I'm watching the strategy from Robert Rock. I say again, he's just playing it smart. I say I'm gutted for him for getting involved in that first incident. I mean, nothing you can do when someone misses a shift in front of you, but he's just sitting right now saying, "All right, we're 3x3 here. It looks like about four trucks deep here. You guys go after it here. I'm gonna be ready to pick up the pieces and kind of just cruise on by you while you guys all are kind of all in the smoking heap." So, it's at times I say. But at the same time, I've been in races with these guys, been able to kind of tag onto a few of these Sunday races. They've run 3x3 for 10, 15, 20 laps and haven't had a yellow. So it's kind of that, what do you do? What's the best strategy for these guys here tonight? Is, you see a little bit of a bobble there by the 59. He's able to gain it there. The 101 just got into the apron. He's okay now as well. But yeah, so you can see everybody's getting just that little bit more antsy, I think, as we get to these final couple laps.
Yeah, everybody's getting antsy, but if Robert can hold on to this draft, I think he's got 2 advantages really. Number 1, he can sit back and watch these guys get antsy, and if anything does happen, he can get on the binders and really slow the truck down. But the other thing he can do, if he wants to, is he can get up there and kind of play the draft and see which line's moving, see what cars are the best combination to get him to the front. So he's going to be running short on time here as we come to 6 to go. But he's still in a good position to tag along, and right now he could be laying back just waiting on a really good run.
Yeah, saying at this point also, like I said, the battle for the win, it's all up in the air, because like I said, the only thing is that middle truck right now, the 35 JD Crow, say he's kind of the one that's kind of throwing a little bit of a wrench into everything here, because again, he's not in it for the win as they run. I say, of course, like I said, he's trying to keep himself in that position to get the lucky dog if there's a yellow, or even maybe be around the whole field if he can. As you see, he's going to just squeeze in front of the 1 truck there. But with all that momentum that was shifting around the middle and the middle and inside line, look at that outside. Here comes Patrick, Seth Gruber. They've locked on. For a moment, Patrick was ahead of the group here, and now that's starting to kind of fizzle out just a little bit here as we're going to come down to 6 to go.
Yeah, the move down the back straightaway to the inside line from JD Crow did not look like the most confidence that I've ever seen. It was a slow creep, but he made it work, and we've still got a lot of motion, especially the second car back there in the second line. But these guys are still forming up and jockeying. And what that could do is open up a little bit of a run for the 23 truck now that second line, and he jumps out to take it.
As soon as I was saying, that's exactly what Sebastian has to do. As soon as that opportunity is there, he has to go. And it's like now, honestly, this puts now the 1 truck in a difficult position, because again, he's now leading, or he's now got the 35 in front of him. So even if the 35 truck's out in front, he's not the leader of this race, and so that almost allows that first truck to be kind of in the way of that truck. And you see Gabe's going to waste no time. He knows, I think, exactly what was happening there, so he says, I got to get back up front here, and he does exactly that, and so he's going to get a great push from Sebastian. They pretty much clear the field there, and so now it's just going to be about who makes the right move win. And see now Sebastian, he's going to jump to the middle here as we get 5 to go.
Yeah, the thing I noticed there coming down the back straightaway when Sebastian stepped out, the 6 truck was the second car in line in front of him, and the 6 truck is Gabe's teammate. So wasted no time in getting out of the draft of the 23 truck and leaving the 23 with very little help and having to kind of recoup some of that momentum. But right now they're still 3 wide. The 23 is inching ahead when he can, and then a few minutes later you'll see the 1 truck of Gabe Butler doing the same. So right now, anybody's guess on who can win this race.
Yeah, I mean, for just a moment, they were 3x3 there coming into turn 3. And I say it was pretty much the 1, the 23, and the 6. The outside lines kind of fizzled out just a little bit here. And like I said, I think right now that 23 truck, he's going to have to start trying to find anybody he can work with. Because, again, the other problem he's got now right behind him, Eric Laurie, you talk about teammates. Again, another teammate of Gabe Butler. Saying those two have been teammates for years with one another. So you know there's a lot of teamwork and dedication between those two. And that's the problem for Sebastian. He's had a terrific season, but he just doesn't have the support like he's had throughout the regular season in that number 23 truck. And as soon as I say that, here comes, and that, again, he's going to have to find help, and this might be it right here, the 59 Jay Hilliard. Shove that 59 truck, get him all the way to the front, and then see if you can work yourself, basically kind of push the 59 and yourself to the front, and then see what you can make something happen there as you get towards the closing portion of this race.
Yeah, I was kind of noticing that. The second line was formed up really nicely, but Eric Laurie, I guess being a teammate, I don't know if he's playing it safe or if he's playing the team, but was not pushing. He was kind of leaving a little bit of a gap, so the 23 just never could build any momentum, but the 23 knows how to push, and that 59 could end up in the front spot and bring the 23 with him.
Yeah, now it's just all about, again, working with maybe drivers you haven't worked with all season long. We're 3 to go here. So say we know the 1, the 35, we know how well they work together. How often have the 59 and the 23 worked together? And even the outside line, you got the 6 in front of the 01, the 02. How much have they worked together as well? It's really kind of just about, I think, comfort at this point with some of these trucks. As I was saying, I mean, you know that 23 is going to give it every ounce he has to try to shove that 59 and then maybe make a move himself to find a way to get around Gabe Butler. But the line here, we're just getting to the point here, Brown. We're going to have 2 to go here at Talladega.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Sebastian, he's in a mix of teammates. Gabe has been fortunate that most of his team is still on the track. So you see Michael Spell keying up there on the mic, or at least I do on my end. So they, gosh, I mean, the 23 is in a rough position right now, coming down to the wire. Just doesn't have any help. But if anybody can make it happen, it's him. That's for sure.
Yeah, Madison, that's going to be the thing. He's going to have to probably pull something out of his hat if he gets the opportunity because, like I said, a lap and a half left to go. So, like I said, the keying up was Michael Spell saying, hey, we're dropping to the apron. We saw the 88. We saw the 08 there as well of Bob Fitzgerald. Again, hats off to those guys. They know what's online here tonight for the championship, for the race win as well. And say now these guys, the goal, of course, just get to that white flag and then from there race it out. And then at that point, all bets will be off to see who can get to that flag first. And it looks like we're going to get there, Brandon. So we got 1 to go in the season here at Talladega.
Man, what a race we've had so far. It's taken, even tonight just seems like we've had a full championship season worth of racing happen. We've had accidents, we've had strategy, we've had the tires, we've had fuel. I mean, everything that could happen has happened tonight. And right now, everybody's just pushing as hard as they can to be in the right position. But it is coming down to the wire down the back straightaway. Everybody's pushing for all they've got.
Yeah, it is. And so you saw just for a moment there's a 59 edge just ahead. Now it's Bud Steele just edging ahead, trying to pinch that 59 truck again. Try to keep all the momentum you can. But while they fight each other, that's allowed the inside line to gain a ton of momentum here. So right now at the line, Gabe Butler just say I think he's got pretty much JD Crowe lockstep on him. And I think that's going to be exactly what he needs. Oh, we got a contact back, and huge wreck in the back, and that's 23 involved in it. That's going to let Gabe Butler sneak on through there, and he's going to clinch the win here and the championship tonight with that move. And also, we talked about drivers trying to play it safe and make it to the end. Look at that 171. Robert Rock keeps it clean, got through the mess. He's going to grab 3rd position here tonight.
Hey, he played that strategy all night long. Got a little bit behind the 8 ball early on in the race, but he fell back into his routine and played it safe, and it was just, I mean, exactly where he needs to be. If Gabe Butler slips up just a little bit there, you've got a championship for the 171.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if Gabe gets caught up in that instant, you're right. That could have been the champion, and that's what we were talking about. I mean, that could have been Robert's championship opportunity there. So we're gonna go back and try to see what exactly happened with that contact towards the end. I think it's just basically drivers just pushing for everything they had there. So we'll jump over to Jay Hilliard. We'll kind of pick it up a little bit here on the speed, and then we'll slow it down as we get off of 40. You can see, right there, a little bobble by the 59, goes high, tries to bring it back low. Again, Sebastian, all he can do is basically his best friend is to push that truck in front of him. But you can see right now that just they're a little bit off center there for just a moment, but then also that side drafting just going to get all that little bit more and more aggressive, and honestly looks pretty tame here. So we'll see where it all kind of kicked off. Oh, right there in the tri-oval, it was a center push, but it was just unfortunately in the tri-oval, and at that point, just everybody's along for the ride here. You see the 35, the 59, the 23 all getting caught up in it. And then you see a few trucks, looks like they're going to be safe. Man, the 35 goes for, actually 3 of the trucks go for some pretty wild rides there. But yeah, and then you see the 171 just edge on by there, and actually just noses ahead of the 071 and then these guys wind up spinning across the line as well. So like I said, I mean, if Gabe was just a little further back, like that could have been Robert's championship. Just didn't quite pan out the way he needed it to.
Yeah, it almost looked like some of the energy kind of bubbled up behind the 23, because it looked like he gained 50 horsepower there through the tri-oval. It looked like a pretty straight push, but it was just enough to get the rear tires of the lead car up in the air, and some of those guys are going to have to take some notes from Kyle Larson about getting up into the fence.
Yeah, so that definitely had some Kyle Larson feel to it on the flipping there. However, we got to pull up our final, before we get to our interviews, we got to pull up our final results here tonight. And it's going to be Gabe Butler getting the win by probably one of the biggest margins we've seen all season long, almost 0.3 of a second over Randy Minor. And then Robert Rock in that third position by just 100th of a second over Eric Laurie. Robert DuPont in 5th. Then you got Seth Groover, Jay Hilliard, Bud Steele. Sebastian Marin finishes in 9th. And honestly, that could be, I believe, might actually be his worst finish of the season. Again, just nothing he could do there. He was just pretty much boxed in. I'd say he probably felt like just the odd man out, if you will. So, but again, I mean, he's got to definitely keep his head held high. That was an amazing season he had tonight. All season, and a great run tonight. Just didn't have the help where he needed it to be. And then again, 9 drivers on the lead lap here, and those that finished a lap or more down. You've got Patrick Groover, Nicholas Lamb, J.D. Crow, BK Anderson, Michael Spell, Paul Sheldon, Bob Fitzgerald, and then you got Dustin and Jacob Lamb in 17th and 18th. And we'll continue the remainder of the results here. You've got Dean Wilkinson, Todd Siebels, Derek Guillory, and Jeff Lamb, unfortunately, all early retirements from tonight's events.
Yeah, tonight was a tale of 1,000 stories. You know, you like to say a tale of 2. This was a tale of 1,000. So many different strategies involved. You know, you had Robert playing the safe card. You know, Gabe doing what he's done all season. He's got a good team around him, but he just makes the right moves and puts his truck in the right position. Time after time. And then you had Sebastian Marin there at the end. He put his truck in the right position, but just kind of ran out of help. And Gabe was just a little bit better tonight. But luckily, we came down to the wire. It was a close championship. Anybody could have won even on the last lap there. No controversy, though. Gabe Butler will be your champion at the end of the season.
Yep, I said, what's that? We got to pull up some drivers to chat with. I said this might be a first as well here, Brandon. I think this might be our first opportunity that we've actually interviewed the same driver twice in one race. I'll say once, of course, for the win last week at Talladega, tonight for his third place finish here tonight. And I mean, I say Brandon, I think, was pretty much spot on with this one, Robert. It probably felt like the tale of 1,000 races for you, especially. I say we talked before the race, kind of talked about your strategy, and then of course just pretty much lap 1, just getting underway, getting to the green flag. Just it feels like, I'm sure, probably just your heart sinks there when you have that truck. Unfortunately, it looks like missed the shift in front of you, nowhere for you to go, and just knowing the way the points work, the bonus points and everything like that. Take us through just the emotions and how you were able to kind of regroup to kind of keep your mindset to go after this race and I mean to be able to come all the way back up into that third spot tonight.
Yeah. It is what it is, but I thought it was pretty much over. I mean, I knew I had the fast repair, but I didn't want to really hang in the back too much, which I just wanted to stay with the lead pack and then, just try to click off some laps. I still had damage. I couldn't keep up with the pack unless somebody was behind me or the pack slowed down, but yeah, I mean, I would have probably finished further back if that wouldn't happen on the last lap.
Yeah, I mean, again, just the persistence you had to stay after, like you said, I mean, it wasn't just the one. Obviously, like you said, you had to burn that fast repair right away, pretty much on that first yellow, And then unfortunately that second incident, you just about had it clear, but unfortunately, like you said, got some right front damage, and that slowed that truck up a little bit. And we did see you had some help when you had the opportunities with some of your teammates, and even they had, it seemed like a lot of them had some tough nights as well. But like you said, I mean, you kept it in contention, and you were right there at the end. And I mean, Brad and I were saying, like, honestly, if the only thing difference, like, if that one truck may have got caught up in that incident, because I mean, we saw how many trucks got caught up in that when you were able to sneak on by there on the inside. I mean, that could have been the turning point. You kind of cutting underneath all those guys to grab that third position. I mean, yeah, just one little thing could have changed the whole outcome. But I mean, to me, just hats off, not giving up, going forward all the way there at the end. I can tell you did finish, were able to finish second in the points tonight after the incident with Sebastian Marin. You were able to leapfrog him into that second position. So to get third place tonight, get second in the points overall, I mean, still a great season for you in that 171. And definitely want to give you the floor once more so I know, again, you got some great sponsors on the truck and saying great looking paint scheme as well. Definitely want to give you the floor for those guys.
Oh yeah, buddy. It's been fun racing all these guys. I appreciate them having me here and all that. Thank you guys at Green White Checkers again. Area 51, TW Motorsports, and all my teammates especially. TJ Travels again for the paints. Guys done a lot of paints for me. TwistedGarden.net, and just appreciate it.
Yeah, you did an awesome job, man. Definitely nothing to hang your head on. You gave it everything you had all season long. Got that big win last week, grabbed the third place tonight, and second in the points. So it gives you something to aim for next season. So great job tonight, Robert. It was great watching you. Like I said, stick it out and give it everything you had. And like I said, just barely come up short, but you were right there all race long. So yeah, great job, man.
All right, buddy. Hey, congratulations to Gabe there. Good job, man.
All right, so that is the third place finisher, second in the points, the 171 of Robert Rock. And basically, we're going to jump from one TW Motorsports driver to another. And I think that's actually what we had last week as well. We this time, we don't have Todd Siebels, but we got the 101 of Randy Miner. Randy, we saw you kind of trying to do everything you could to help Robert there throughout the course of the race. But when it came crunch time, you were in a great position a handful of times. That truck definitely was moving towards the front. Just kind of didn't have the right push at the right time to get it for yourself. But great race, a great result for you. I mean, take us through some of the chaos that you had to get through first. Of course, that last lap wreck, but then you had some big pushes there occasionally during the course of the race to get you up front controlling the field. Take us through what you were going through tonight.
Yeah, it was a little crazy there at the start. I think I missed the shift and kind of backed up the field, but I'm not sure on that. I'll watch the replay, but there later on, I kind of gathered myself together and got behind Gabe Butler and figured, that's the way to the front, and wound up leading a couple laps and stayed with the lead pack. And there at the end, the seas kind of opened up at that wreck and wound up second.
Yeah, you mentioned the initial start. We saw you drop to the inside, and I wasn't sure if that was just you trying to kind of roll out and kind of take it easy in the start. There was actually another truck that also, I believe, either missed a shift or may have shifted into the wrong gear, and that was what happened, I believe, right in front of Robert there for him on that initial start. So if that was something that was kind of hanging over your head, definitely don't feel too bad about it, because I don't think the incident was related to you at all. So hopefully that'll make you feel a little better.
Nah, maybe a little bit. But yeah, I feel bad about that. But on the replay, it looked like it was clear, but I was thinking strategy, and I was just in the wrong gear. I was trying to help teammate Robert Rock because he was in the playoffs, and I just had my mind on other things instead of my gear. But it was a good race after that. Everybody got settled in. We had some good three-wide racing, and it was a pretty good finish.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of stuff going on. Like I say, Brad and I were talking. I mean, it was pretty much a little bit of everything going on tonight. But like you said, you got some laps led there, saying then we're right there in the thick of it at the end. But like you said, made the right move at the right time to get around that big incident and grab that second place. That's 2 weeks in a row for the TW Motorsports guys, getting two out of the 3 podium positions as well. So I'll say hats off to you and the team as well. You guys have been really stepping up these last couple of weeks. So I'm sure that's also one more thing that just kind of helps kind of boost you guys a little bit to be looking forward to next season.
Oh yeah, it helps to have some good teammates. Yeah, we work pretty good together. We're getting there anyway. Bunch of good guys.
Yeah, that I say definitely gonna say agree with you there. I say was able to have a chance to chat with you guys pre-race. So it was a lot of, like I said, a lot of great guys to be able to talk to and to kind of just get some insight from. So that being said, though, Randy, I say again, a great result tonight, getting that second in the race. As I be able to go strong in next season as well. But before we let you go, definitely want to give you the floor here. Any thanks and shouts you'd like to give for that second place run tonight?
Just you guys there at Max Speed TV, man. You guys do an awesome job.
So we always appreciate to do everything we can to help you guys out on these races. Say it's a lot of fun to do. Say I know for Brad and I as well. So yeah, just awesome job tonight, Randy. Enjoy this one. Say enjoy the break though, and we'll look forward to seeing you next season, sir.
All right, thanks very much.
All right, so that leaves us one last driver to chat with, and that's going to be probably a very happy and very relieved number 1 truck of Gabe Butler getting the championship and the race win tonight. Man, I'll say everything was looking pretty good. Obviously, Gabe going the way it started off tonight, getting the pole position, getting that bonus point, of course, and then looked like leading the most laps, and then just seemed like kind of, I wouldn't say everything unraveled, but say obviously that contact after the pit stop cycle gave you some incident points, I'm sure. How much were you stressing there? Because I mean, Brad and I were commenting. It looked like you were awful aggressive, trying to keep the lead of that race. I'm guessing try to get every bonus point you could, and of course try to control it. But it seemed like you were definitely kind of up on your game a little more aggressively than we've seen over the course of the season.
Yeah, well, listen, before I forget, I want to apologize to Dustin for snapping at him after that incident. It was just, I guess, one of those things. It looked like he might have been trying to follow the car that was passing me, follow him down. So, I mean, I know he didn't do it on purpose. I was pretty upset, and I just want to make sure that I apologize to him for snapping at him. The guy's a good guy and a good racer. So, but anyway, yeah. I felt I had to be a little bit more aggressive tonight because it was only a 4-point margin, and with Sebastian and Robert were in there. You just had to kind of go for it, and I don't normally do that, but I felt like I had to be a little bit more aggressive tonight, and luckily worked out.
Yeah, man. I mean that's racing. I say be it sim racing or the real deal. I say obviously emotions run high at times in the race, and I think probably everybody's aware of that and expects it as well. So I'm sure everybody talked it out a little bit as well, or we'll get the opportunity to at some point soon. But yeah, leading the most laps, I believe. It looked like you did a really good job of getting that taken care of. But then, like I said, pole position, get that bonus point. Brad and I were kind of doing the math, and we weren't sure the situation on incident points. We figured probably for sure there with that one that probably gave you a couple right off the bat. But then we weren't sure about Sebastian if he had a clean truck or not, because at one point he did have a slower pit stop, so we weren't sure if that was just a longer pit stop for the sake of just track position, roll into the back, or possible damage repairs. Because we were running the numbers, and I think we had a potential, if you guys finished 1-2, that it could wind up going down to a tiebreaker. So I mean, of course, what you had. Did you have any kind of thoughts in your mind, knowing what the status was for the 23 truck, or also possibly even the 171?
Well, I was mainly concentrating on Sebastian. I just assumed that he had a clean truck, and that's what I was basing my racing on. So I was telling the guys, I just got to finish ahead of him and win it, if at all possible. And the guys were fantastic tonight. They did everything they could to help me. And, so as you you all know in super speedways you cannot do it by yourself. I don't care how good a driver you are, if you don't have help, you know, it's just going to be super tough. And the guys were just fantastic.
Yeah, and that's something we commented on as well. Was you were in a really good spot. Say we saw you and JD doing what you guys do best, and Eric at one point as well helping you out. And then it was that's something we commented. It was kind of tough sledding for Sebastian. He didn't really have, obviously earlier in the season he had a lot of help with some of his Dale Cup teammates, but they kind of have stepped away over the course of the season. So unfortunately, he didn't really have all the numbers that he'd been probably maybe not used to having, but enjoying having, I should say, is probably a nice way to put it. So he was definitely kind of in between a rock and a hard place there for trying to find a way to get around you, and then, like I said, find somebody to work with basically towards the end of that one. So you guys did everything. I think you guys did everything spot on, like I said, to kind of keep yourself in that catbird seat. And like you said, though, definitely some big moves from throughout the field, though, trying to either work your way to the middle to get that push to get back to the front, because I see JD Crow, obviously when he was leading the field, it was kind of a blessing and a hindrance at the same time, just because knowing that him leading that group could make it difficult for you if that middle lane kind of started to form on that outside.
Yeah, it's kind of strange, really. That high line is normally pretty good, but it seemed to struggle a little bit tonight, with the exception of a couple of times. But just to your point there with Sebastian, it just goes to show how good a driver he is. You know, they didn't have all the help. He's still up there. He'll always be up there. So he did a fantastic job in that regard. And a big shout out to Robert too, new guy. Good third place finish tonight. I'm not sure where he finished in the championship, but you know, hell of a season for him. And you know, of course, Area 51 appreciates these guys coming in and racing like they do, and it's a fun season.
Yep, I think you've done this a time or two before, just because of the fact that you already rolled into the thanks and shoutouts before I even had a chance to get there, Gabe. So, but yeah, just awesome job, man. I'll say all season long. Like you said, it was pretty much you and Sebastian. I think we're kind of ahead of the, I'd say a step ahead of the field pretty much throughout the course of the season, but just pretty much once the playoffs kicked off, I mean, you were just on another level. Say those first two races, of course, kind of everything that could go wrong went wrong last week, but able to kind of regroup yourself and get it taken care of here tonight. So just great job for an amazing season, and so I'm sure it'll be a well earned rest over the course of the holidays to kind of come back after it next season.
Yeah, looking forward to next season, and taking a little break here. We'll probably do some fun races in between, but just let me finish thanking the guys like you know, Eric, JD, and Bud in there, and Michael Spell, and of course your dad was running with us for a little bit there also. If I'm forgetting somebody, I need to be slapped, but I don't think I am. But yeah, shout out to all the guys, Area 51 for putting on a great league, and yourself for doing a fabulous broadcast. I've said it numerous times. I tell people about you. It's great to go back and look at your races, your commentating and broadcasting, and the analysis is always spot on. And shout out to Brandon for hopping in and helping you tonight too.
Yeah, no, Brennan's a huge help. I say whenever I don't get him, I kind of miss him. Like, I need that voice. But yeah, I say, and that's the thing is I've got such good people jumping on. Let's say helping out Steve on the IndyCar side. I've had Brendan a bunch of times here at Super Speedway, and then every so often, if he can't make it, I've had Matt Wagner chime in and Maxwell Caldwell. I'll say that we've got a really good group of guys just able to help out, and definitely looking to continue that and even growing a little bit more next season as well. So. Yeah, just awesome job though tonight, Gabe. It was like I said, it was definitely a well fought win for you tonight. Get that championship as well. So enjoy this one. I say you'll be able to let it set in for a little bit over the break, and look forward to seeing you come back strong in 2022, sir.
All right, guys, appreciate it. Thanks a bunch.
All right, Brennan, that is our race winner in that number one truck, able to get the win and the championship here tonight, but definitely not without some drama. That was a wild one. It's like I said, even with the smaller car count there that we had towards the end of that race, I mean, you see again 3x3 these guys running just 3-4 rows deep, and just yeah, I mean, they talked about the teamwork, and that was exactly what it was. They just were able to kind of keep that 23 stuck in a box, and just even without the help, he still almost found a way to manage to get it done.
Yeah, tonight was interesting. We've seen a lot of races that, they just go down in different ways and have kind of different ebbs and flows. Tonight was a little bit different than all the rest. The car count at the end had kind of dropped off, had a little bit of attrition throughout the race, but that intensity still ramped up at the end. And when you came down to it, you still didn't know coming to the white flag who was going to win this race. So all three championship contenders come into the white flag, all had a chance to win this championship. And there were 10 cars at least that could have won this race on the last lap. So, super fun race. A lot of times, most of the time, these races are a lot of fun. So much fun to watch and call. But this one, I think, sticks out a little bit more just for the extra intensity when you add the championship night and everything else on top of that. It's just a super fun race.
Yeah, definitely have to agree with you there. And crazily enough, that's our season. I say that this was the last race of the season between us here on Green White Checker TV, and of course, like I said, we had Max Speed TV helping out broadcasting over on the Sunday nights Super Speedway and the Monday nights on the Next Gen series. No knock to him. Apparently, I say that was the other funny part. Was the mix up between us and Max Speed. Apparently it happened the other way over on Max Speed with one of the races. So I say we're even now. So we got a Max Speed thanks over here, and then they got a Green White Checker thanks over there. So it's great though. It's a great partnership between Area 51 and then the broadcasting channels, and then like I said with TW Motorsports over here, Dark Horse over on the Indy side. Got a lot of great people involved in all of these races. So it's been a lot of fun. I don't know how we've already gone this far along since I kind of kicked it off just to give it a shot to help out my dad, help out the league. It's been a ton of fun. So everybody that's been watching, that's been supporting us here on Green White Checker TV, thank you so much. Brendan, like I said, can't thank you enough for all your help over here. And then, of course, like I said, the other night, Steve, Maxwell, Matt. So you guys have been amazing. I say one of these days, hopefully I'll be able to snag Dale back in the booth as well. So I definitely enjoyed doing some races with him. He was one of my first co-commentators along with Steve. So hopefully I'll drag Dale back in once he's kind of settled back in with his move. And we'll be able to get some more fun going into 2022. So again, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all have a very, very happy holidays, very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Like I said, keep an eye out for some fun races over the course of the holidays at Area 51 between the various series. And we'll kick things off, I believe, the second week of January. Look for things to kick off again here on Sunday nights with the Super Speedway Xfinity cars. But until then, hope you all have a wonderful evening. Happy Friday Eve. And I said, hope you'll have a very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, and we'll see you all in 2022. Till then, take care.